Welcome to the Keeping You On Stage podcast. Join us as we dive into the vibrant world of dance, sharing our insights and experiences while spotlighting the incredible talents within our community. Each episode features engaging conversations with guests who bring their unique expertise and stories to the table, enriching our understanding of this beautiful art form. Our motto, Keeping You On Stage, drives our mission to celebrate and uplift dancers of all backgrounds. Whether you're a beginner, a seasoned performer, or a passionate enthusiast, this podcast is your backstage pass into the dance world. Tune in and let's keep the spotlight shining bright. Today on the Keeping You On Stage podcast, we're joined by the incredibly inspiring Jordan Peterson, a dancer, educator, choreographer, and mentor who has spent nearly 4 decades immersed in the art of movement. Jordan's journey through dance has taken her from performing with incredible companies like Repertory Dance Theater and Odyssey Dance Theater, to studying at Snow College, earning her BFA in Modern Dance from the University of Utah, and completing a master's degree in Fine Art Administration from Southern Utah University. Many in the Utah dance community know Jordan from her 11 years as a head drill team coach, and today she continues to shape the next generation of dancers as a master teacher and mentor through her company, Full Out Productions. She is also a freelance choreographer and the co-owner and director of the Rocky Mountain and Best of Drill competitions. Jordan's passion for teaching, mentorship, and the transformative power of dance shines through everything she does. From developing resources for educators to traveling nationally and internationally to share her knowledge. We're so excited to sit down with Jordan today and hear more about her journey, her passion for education, and the impact she continues to have on dancers and teachers everywhere. Jordan, welcome to the podcast.
Okay, we're just going right into it.
Let's dive.
After nearly 4 decades in dance, what part of you has remained unchanged?
I was thinking about this.
Okay.
Very introspective. I feel like I am a passionate person and always have been. I find something that I like and I get really into it and then I forget about it. You know, I get I don't know if COVID brought that out in everyone where it was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so into like macrame or like I got real into those like jewel.
Oh,
you know,
those are
bedazzling.
so
Random
cool.
bedazzling. Yes. So I've always been interested in doing a lot of things. I like to be busy. I like to move, but I feel like dance has stuck with me, and I think it's because the person that I am loves learning, and I love to continue learning, and I found that through dance. So I feel like I've always been that person. I've always wanted to learn more, to do more, and dance has always provided me that. It was continually changing, and so I could always be learning more about it, So
that is so neat.
Anyway,
I agree.
Yeah, I'm a busybody, so it's lent itself nicely to that.
Yes, that's awesome.
Love that.
Okay, if someone removed every title that you hold, coach, director, educator, entrepreneur, who are you at the core as an artist?
Just like really tired. No, I'm just kidding.
I can relate. I know.
Who am I? I think honestly, if you remove everything, I'm just like I'm going back to passion again, and I don't want to sound repetitive, but I think that's what drives you before all of those things happen to you. You know what I mean? You have to have that like genuine joy and passion for what you're doing to eventually decide that you want to turn it into a business or turn it into a career or turn it into a degree. You know what I mean? I think that without all of those things, prior to any of that, I was just that little girl that found joy in what she was doing, and that has sustained me. And I think it will continue to do so until I no longer feel that joy or find that joy in what I'm doing. And that will be my like signal to end scene, that I need to maybe shift gears or direction. But so far, so good. I'm still finding joy in what I'm doing. So
I love that. I do too. That's amazing.
We all do, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we all do.
It's why we keep coming back and we do things like this. And I don't know, dance has its way of, regardless of how far detached you are from it, you still have that little nagging inside of you that keeps you a part of it in some way,
Totally. This is every conversation that we have with whatever guest is on our podcast. This gets brought up every time.
Yeah.
That
totally.
No matter where you go in life, dance finds its way back into your life
Absolutely.
somehow.
Absolutely. I remember retiring from coaching. I just had this like very poor me moment of like, I'm going to be so irrelevant. Like I'm not going to have any way of connecting with dance anymore. And I'm like, I'm thrice as busy as I ever was just coaching. You know what I mean? It finds a way. If you still find that joy in what you're doing, it finds a way to continually provide that for us.
Yeah, I love that. Once a dancer, always a dancer.
Always.
Yes,
Yep.
I love that so much. Okay, what has dance required of you that nothing else could?
Ooh. Radical self-acceptance. You know, I think about, I would go through these phases and think like, oh, if I had just been a dental hygienist, or, you know, if I had just been like so good at accounting, or if I just wanted to be an English teacher, I wouldn't have to spend my time. I mean, from the time we are teeny tiny till even now, my life has been spent in front of a mirror, you know, and I think as a woman and as a just, I don't know, a person in general, that's really hard as your body is changing your entire life. You know, like I feel like, I don't know, you know, my husband, he's in business, and I thought, well, he didn't go to school in front of a mirror. His whole like grades and self-worth and ability to pursue what he wanted was never based on his physicality. He could look how he wanted. He could, you know what I mean? And it was all about, do you have the brain power or, you know, mental capacity to be able to achieve this? And I went through a lot of those phases where it's like, I have to accept myself where I am as is. Not that I don't have the potential to be better or get better or change. I recognize that a lot. I'm a late in life mom, you know, so I thought like postpartum too, I had this moment of, oh man, like that was significantly different than I thought it would be, you know, continuing to teach while pregnant. And so I think the one thing that it has taught me, if I could narrow it down, you know, there are so many things, but it's that radical self-acceptance that you have to be in that mindset that, again, comparison is the thief of that joy that we spoke about, you know, that if you want dance to give you joy and bring you joy, it can't be in the same conversation as comparison. It can't be, you know, wondering why your skill set isn't there or your body type isn't there, or because that will change, that will shift. You know, I am 5'10" and I grew real tall real fast. I remember being like in my 5th grade, you know, dance competition team being like, oh, I'm so awkward. And I hated watching video of myself and my cute little friends, you know. And then I got to college and was like, heck yeah, being 5'10" is awesome. Like I look so good on stage doing my ballet pieces. And, you know, it's just, it's that kind of shift of mindset that you learn as you get older and stuff. But yeah, it's finding self-acceptance, because in our world, that's not always something that's externally validated,
Right?
you know, so.
I really appreciate that. Just because as a dancer, you compare. No,
You
I mean,
can't
as
help it. You can't help
humans,
it.
you
Yes.
do, but
Yes.
like that's human nature, but even more so in dance.
Absolutely.
And because you're always, you know, especially in drill or competitive dance or a
Yes.
ballet piece, I mean, really, it doesn't matter. You have to look like everyone else.
Yes. Your body is your tool, and you want that
And
tool to be the
so-
most useful. Yeah.
Yes. And so it's accepting that. Like that is thank you. It's not my fingerprint. But that I just appreciate it, because that is so important. And the earlier and younger you can figure that out,
Absolutely.
the way more successful
Yes.
you'll be
Yes.
in life in general.
Yes. I vividly remember sitting in a college class we had filmed, and for the first time I remember thinking, I like how that looks. I mean, and I watched my drill team videos. We were state champs, you know, and I never disliked my body or myself, but I never was super confident in watching myself. And I vividly remember being 20 plus years old and thinking, I'm satisfied with how I look and how I move, and just how long that took me to get there. I would hate for somebody else to have to take that long to finally realize, like, it's okay to appreciate what you're doing. It's okay to think, wow, I might be good at this, or I might, you know, be able to, I don't know, accept who I am physically, visually, you know, all the things that we do as dancers.
It comes with maturity as
Totally.
well, you
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
For sure. Okay. When did you first realize you were not just participating in dance culture, but shaping it?
I did notice kind of a shift when I really started dedicating myself to continued education and learning all the things that I was kind of collecting within myself to be a better teacher, a better mentor, a better choreographer, I had this itch to share that. I like teaching. I found out quite early that I had a knack for that came really natural to me, that I connected with students and with people, and that I could really teach well. And so as I thought about it, I got really inspired to share my knowledge with those that would then share knowledge. So teaching teachers, right? I then realized too that oftentimes a lot of people have opinions to share, but not necessarily advice. I feel like opinions come from, it's subjective. It's just what I think and what I feel. But so I feel like advice is backed with information, right? It's backed with experience. And a lot of people were coming to me for advice on choreography or on, how can I approach this issue, or how can we solve this problem? And I think one thing that I will say I'm really good at is finding solutions, especially within the dance world. These needs come up from an education standpoint, from a performance or choreography. There's so many different avenues. And I feel like I found, again, that joy in finding solutions and more ease of access to information that would help those that were in places to make changes, and make suitable changes for the needs that were arising.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I know that's a lot of words.
No,
but
for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was diligent in continuing to make sure that when I was asked for advice, it was true information that had been tried and tested, and that I could really help better, versus just, well, this is my opinion on how things should be, kind of sight unseen. So.
And I think people really appreciate that, because opinions are very emotional.
Absolutely. But when it's big picture, and when it is something that will domino affect the culture or the team or the coach or the organization, then it's something that I really try to make note of, the things that I'm speaking and the things that I'm teaching, that they, again, do need to be, more informational on positive change versus just my opinion.
Right.
Because everyone has one of those, good or bad.
Yeah,
Very
we
much
do.
So. Yes, exactly. What responsibility comes with being a leader in a field that influences young women so profoundly?
I think about this a lot, actually. I think about the mentors and people that I looked up to growing up, and kind of how, again, you talked about changing with maturity, how things shift. I noticed when I first got into coaching, one of the biggest things was I learned how not to coach, watching certain people. I learned how not to mentor. So one thing with, I don't know, kind of being an example, quote unquote, to a lot of the girls that I work with, a lot of these dancers, is one thing I say when I teach choreography is, I don't ever want you to look like you're standing out there in my clothes wearing, like Jordan's choreography is. I want it to feel so fully your own that you can express it in a way that's genuine. And I want that with choice making throughout their lives, right? I don't want them to think, well, how would you have done it? Or what would you have done? Or moving forward, you did this. Or, I think it's great to kind of use others' examples as a launch pad, maybe, but I'm really into making sure that they are confident enough in making choices for them. And if it is different than how they were raised, great. If it's different than how they were taught, great. You have to, I don't know, make sure that you are preparing them to kind of live in the real world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like, well, we did it this way, or I was taught this way, or I was, made to think this way. And I just think kind of encourage them to build their own idea about who they are and what they want to be inside and outside dance. And then, encouraging them and preparing them to accomplish that. I ran into that a little bit too, I think, growing up. Pursuing dance is not always something that you're championed into doing, like, oh, you're going to do that as a degree. Well, what are you going to do for your real job? Or what are you going to, you know what I mean? There's a lot of that too. And I think I am so thankful that I didn't run into a lot of people that put those obstacles in my way, that it was just like, well, have you thought about doing dance? Well, you should pursue dance. Well, they made it feel very valid. And I was able to make a lot of choices that opened a lot of doors because I had those people. And I want to be one of those people for those kids. You know,
That's awesome.
Man, it's hard to be a teenager, to
Yeah.
be a dancer, to be a woman, to exist in so many different areas where we're not validated. I always want to be that person for them.
I love that.
Wow.
That's so important.
Yes.
I look back to when we were growing up and it was hard. But
Yes.
I feel like sometimes we are telling the kids it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But they have so much going against them.
Yes.
So why
Yes.
not be an advocate for them
Yes.
and be that person that's opening doors and helping them and encouraging them?
And if you worked every day at the level that these athletes work, under the pressure that they work, and the adult in your life is saying it's not that big of a deal, it's confusing for you because you're dedicating every ounce of yourself to something that makes you feel something. You find a place of belonging, you find a place of growth and challenge, and it's so great. And then on the other hand, you have someone saying it's not that big of a deal. This is a hobby. This is, you know what I mean? It again invalidates something that we are passionate about and that can really develop wonderful leaders and, wonderful members of society that,
It can be
maybe
a career.
absolutely.
It can,
Yes. Yeah. There's
Well,
just
the cool thing is with this podcast is we're meeting people that obviously were dancers and are dancers,
yes.
but it has led them to amazing careers. Like they're
Absolutely.
leaders, they're
Yes.
business owners. They contribute to society so well because of dance. I just think dance is so cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
so
really
cool.
Right?
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And it just
But somewhere
Yeah.
along the way, and I think, we can all relate to this, how you were saying, mentors, you've had people in your corner that have cheered you on or helped you get there.
Absolutely.
And I would say we've all experienced someone
Yes.
like that, or
Yes.
a coach or a teacher or someone like that who has made, okay, like you love to dance or you love this, you need to
Yeah.
pursue it,
Yes.
whatever it is. I
Yes.
mean,
Mhm.
we neither one of us dance right now,
Yeah.
and we haven't for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's still a really big part of our lives.
Yes.
And I think I would say that with all of our other guests too, is they've had someone, even if it's just one person
Yes.
in their corner saying, go for it.
Absolutely. Even as adults now, like somebody telling me I'm
Yes.
capable, I'm like, thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank
I needed that
you.
Yeah,
today.
or
You
that
know,
little
we just
push.
again, I'm
need
tapping
it.
into that. Being a mom at
Yes.
37, I was like, I need somebody to tell me I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I need
Yes.
somebody to, just reiterate that I'm capable of this. And,
If it's
Yeah.
something that you love, you're passionate about, something
Yeah.
that brings you joy,
absolutely.
then for sure,
Chase it.
you
Yeah.
got this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel like that is like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
And see,
Yep,
Yes,
clap.
yes,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
clap. That was amazing. This may or may not go kind of under the same umbrella, but
Okay.
what do you believe great leaders in dance understand that others overlook?
Great leaders in dance. I think if they are truly great, they see their responsibility.
Mhm.
We see a lot of leaders that are very much in it for the title, for the ego, for exercising some power that they feel like they need over people. Especially offensive when it's children, you're like, just chill out, like calm down,
Right.
But yeah, I think that great leaders recognize their responsibility and the tenderness with which they must develop these kids because they're at such a fragile state. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? At every level, when you're teaching your teeny tinies, there are things that they are putting away, and as they get older, they're going through that prepubescent body change, and it's like you just have to be so mindful of what you're doing and how you're leading and how you're mentoring as they get into high school. That teenage age is just, you're fighting for your life in every capacity,
yeah, you really are.
and yeah, it really takes a great leader to be in those positions. I used to run into people who would say things like, well, dance is just like it's like my other job. It's like my part-time job. It's like, well, this is my job and I teach dance on the side. And I'm like, you are literally molding minds.
Yes.
You are in charge of these kids at such a tender age that I think there's just a bigger responsibility that maybe you're not fully aware of.
Hmm.
And that may sound like over the top and you're like, no, literally my kid's just in like pre-tap and jazz just because I need babysitter Tuesday, Thursday. But it really it's impactful. There are things that I remember vividly, you know, from a young age, and even things you don't remember, but just the environment that you are spending time in molds you, whether it's your dance studio or your school or your friend group or your home life. Like it's important. It's important to be mindful of the responsibilities you have as a leader, regardless of how big or small that leadership position is.
I love that. That's
I
awesome.
do too.
So
That's great.
yeah, I take very serious what I do, whether I'm teaching my tiny little babies to walk on their tiptoes or I'm, you know, putting together a production piece in Japan. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I just love that. I think, you know, my little 7-year-old that dances, and I'm like, yeah, that is, and she has incredible dancers. They
Yes.
are incredible teachers. I
Yeah,
love each and every one of
absolutely.
them,
Yes.
and they do take their job very serious and very responsible. So I really appreciate it. But that goes with anything that
Absolutely.
I put my kids
Yeah.
in. They're not home.
Yes.
As long as
Truly.
they're
There are
not.
other adults helping, you know,
Yes.
it's the village. There are other adults helping raise your
That is
children. And you're
so
like, I hope
important.
they're taking their
Taking
job
care-
seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's amazing. Okay, we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
Okay.
What does higher education offer the professional dance world that practical experience cannot?
Just personal experience, that validation.
Wow.
Like truly, it's, I don't even like that that's a real thing, but there are doors that have been opened to me truly because I have a piece of paper that says I went to school for this. You know what I mean? I do not think it's for everyone. I decided to really, like, after high school, I actually had a midlife crisis and I cheered my first year of college. Sure did.
That's
Stunt
awesome.
cheerleader. Oh, yeah.
What?
Yep. I was in a stunt, Snow College.
Okay,
I
Snow, that's
remember.
right.
So I'm in a stunt. My stunt partner's, you know, some huge guy that can lift my
Oh my
5'10"
gosh.
body. I have a sign that says, shake your keys. And I was just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? This is not
This
it.
is-
Anyway, so
Wow.
yeah, crazy. So rewind, you know, I get back and I decided to take I had an amazing mentor at Snow. I did the dance company the next year. I really wanted to get out of the like competition scene and I went really fine art and that was great for me. But I talked about I'm a lover of learning. I love to learn. I loved that it opened my eyes to this whole other side of dance that was just not the four walls of my studio or my high school. And I do think that there are so many wonderful professionals that have incredible careers that never went to, you know, any sort of like official schooling to do so. But it gave me a validation, I think, to myself that like I could do this, that I grew up, you know, in a town without a stoplight and I went to a high school with one drill team, one dance studio, and I was able to get into one of the best dance programs in the country. You know, it was really reaffirming to me that like I was on kind of the right path to do so. But I think with higher education, it can validate those that maybe want in a career in it, especially post-performance. You know, I thought about that too. Is there kind of is an expiration date for your body? You know, it only can do so many things for so long. Yeah, and so it was something great to kind of have in my bank to utilize, you know, in other avenues other than being a performer. And I can't speak highly enough of how just many aha moments I had and so many different aspects that you can do. You know, you can focus, you know, into an education. You can go into teaching methods or pedagogy or history or I did a secondary degree. I did a master's degree in fine art administration.
That's
which
awesome.
again, I thought, well, that even validates a dance degree even more because now I, you know, understand. And I had to take just the same classes. I took accounting and art in law, and you know, it's so much. The world of art and dance is so much bigger.
Yes.
And it just my rooms kept getting bigger and the things I was learning kept expanding, and I thrived in that. I loved it. And so I would say, like, if you are a scholar, if you really like school, but you also love the arts and you're like, well, you know, it didn't bring me joy to think about being a dental hygienist, but I really loved school, you know? So I'm like, it validates you can find an educational avenue even through the arts. And it's an amazing thing to see come together.
I
You know?
was so impressed when I was reading your resume or whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. But first of all, I had to Google what pedagogy is because do you know what that?
No,
Like, I literally
I've
had
heard
no
of it,
idea.
but I
Yeah.
don't
I'm
know
like,
what it is.
what is that? Like, hello, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then an art and I may have this backward, but administration,
Mhm.
in
Like arts administration.
arts
Yeah,
administration.
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't even know that was
Yeah.
like a thing, and I was so impressed. I'm like, young me,
Yeah.
like that would have been so fun. I don't love school, so I don't know
Yes.
if I would have pursued that, like kept going in
Yes.
school and get a master's and all
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
But like that's incredible to me.
Oh, thank you.
Also that you pushed and pursued and you're like, I'm just going for this.
Yeah.
But also that it's an option. I think that
Yeah,
is what
Totally.
is
Totally.
like you did that at SUU, right?
Yeah. And the crazy thing about that, I was actually in Cedar City doing choreography for a high school team. And one of my drill coaches in high school, she was actually just an assistant. She was, I think, my assistant for 1 year, had a dance degree and like made us do ballet. And we were like, you know, big poo-poo on this. We just want to win state with our, you know, high kicks and like V drops.
Yes.
But she also taught at Snow College. So we had a little bit of connection there. And anyway, I happened to be in Cedar City. I can't remember what we were discussing or if she saw on social media and said, you know, myself and my husband are at Wingers, come join us. Anyway, long story short, she had done the arts administration through SUU.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, apply. So I went literally that night in the hotel room. I remember like pulling it up and thinking, can you get into a master's program with a dance degree? You know, all this stuff and getting everything prepped. And yeah, it was just one of those like kind of happenstance. And I had actually started doing a master's of education through Utah State, but it felt a little too vast. You know, the education is
very much
a lot of different things that weren't relevant to what I wanted to do or what I was currently doing. So yeah. Anyway, I applied and it was incredible. It fit so seamlessly into what I was doing or what I wanted to do. That was an inspired moment for sure.
Yeah.
To have that kind of come to fruition and be accepted. It was actually, I think it was only the second year that the program had been available.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it was awesome.
And is it still a thing today? Like,
Yep.
I just think that's incredible. Like all of these, I hope all the young dancers and those who are wanting more.
Yes, totally.
Like know that is an option.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, like is masters, like can you do that? And
I had no idea. I was like,
absolutely you can.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I love that so much. Okay. Sorry, did you have
No,
anything to say?
no,
Okay.
I'm good.
Will you tell us what pedagogy
Yes,
stands
just like-
for?
I mean, like layman's terms, teaching theory.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Okay.
like
okay.
How you teach. Teaching teachers was kind of
teaching
like
teachers,
my, my big thing that I'm kind of into right now. But yeah, just the idea of teaching theory. How does one teach? Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, wait,
That's awesome.
am I pronouncing this right? Like I just, but that's so cool.
Yeah.
Such
I
a neat
was
thing.
dead set on doing like a doctorate program.
Okay.
And then COVID hit and I was like, oh, well, I'm not doing that.
Never
And,
mind.
Yeah, I got busy. So it's still something that potentially I'd like to pursue, but it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
you're
on the
using
radar
it
right
though.
now.
Like you use it
absolutely.
all the time.
Yes.
So that is so cool.
How neat.
Okay. We're going back. Maybe back.
Okay.
Maybe not. You have to tell me where this fits in.
Okay.
Your timeline here. But 11 years as a head coach. That is a significant time.
Yeah.
A head drill coach. What high school? Can I ask?
I was at Murray High School and then I
Okay.
was at Corner Canyon High
Oh
School
my
there in
goodness,
Draper.
yeah.
That doesn't
Wow.
feel like a long time. There's some lifers out there that did like
There
double
are.
and triple what that is, but I guess retrospectively, over 10 years coaching is a lot.
Mhm.
That's a long time. I feel like that's
I think the turnover is
Oh, it's
there's
insane.
a lot
Yes.
of turnover.
Yes. Are
so
you
when
kidding?
you do get one who's
Yeah.
there, you're like,
Yes.
okay.
If you can keep
You're a
coaches for
lifer.
5 years now, you're like, oh, that's a long time.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
truly.
Yes. What defines strong leadership in drill team culture?
I think the same thing that defines good leadership anywhere. It's knowing that you have a responsibility to the people that you're leading and that you need to truly take the ego out of it. I think exploring your motives. Why are you doing what you're doing? If it's not to serve the people and, to really buoy up the people that you're coaching, then maybe you're not in the right position. I think it looks really fun and exciting from outside. And then when you get in the trenches, you're like, this is a lot, because you are now a therapist and an accountant and a costume designer and a music editor and a choreographer and a parent to teenagers and,
I love
you're-
you say therapist, 'cause
you're
it's so
the
true.
mediator between, dads and athletic directors and, administration. And it's a lot. But I do think successful leadership in drill, it comes to, the motives behind what you're doing. If you're, focused on the outcome, if you're, championship driven, great in so many ways, but there is one. There is one. And if your season is constantly focused on that one thing, you miss out on 365 days of development and growth in so many other aspects that could be so important for those kids. So, when I teach these, or we do these seminars with teachers or directors or anybody in a mentor position, coaches, I really have them think about that. What's your why? Why do you show up daily, and what purpose is this serving? And how are you bettering yourself to then better your team?
Yeah.
Well, and I like that you go a little bit deeper than just, like why we'll explain it. Because why do we do it? Well, because we love to dance. But go farther.
Couldn't tell you how much I love why. Like
I
was that kid that was like, why?
Yes.
But as an adult, I love that because I have a reason. There is a reason I do certain things, and it helped me so much as a coach. Like, why are we doing this? X, Y, and Z. I know why we're doing this. When I had to talk with parents or administration, I had my why because I was very confident in what I was doing and the plan that I had for my team and the growth I wanted to see for them, and the reasoning behind the choices that I was making. Like I took it very serious that this was, again, it was, I remember being in that position. We all remember being in that position, and how crazy those years on drill were. And I just I was really passionate about, I don't know, giving those kids something at such a pivotal point in their lives that they would look back on with like so much pride and joy, and not just like our coach hated us and she worked us to the bone, but we were state champs. Because literally no one cares. Like post high school, I mean, it's so awesome. And my little team, we took state 100 times in a row, but I never listed that on any resume. I never listed that on any, like audition. It was so amazing. But there is one team that gets to be awarded that. And if that is the full basis and structure of your entire season, I think maybe as a leader, you're lacking in some of the areas that you could really be impactful.
Absolutely.
I mean, we all love to win, truly.
Yes.
And as a competitive drill team, there is focus on that. There has to be. But when that doesn't come to fruition, what else is left?
Right.
And there is hopefully a lot of other skill sets and things and experiences that, change them for good. Because if that trophy isn't there, then what kind of thing?
Right. Like that can't be your only why.
Yeah.
That can't be your only reason.
Yes.
Because dance, drill.
Yeah.
I mean, drill's a whole other world in dance.
Yes.
Especially in Utah.
Absolutely.
But
oh my gosh, people in Texas were like, wait, what's drill?
I know.
And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You're
Like, how long do you
no.
have?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't explain it in 2 seconds, but
Yes.
I'll try.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just life lessons learned in those experiences. And I think that you hit the nail on the head.
I think it's so, like, we go to all the competitions. We like to make as many as we can because we just love watching it.
Yes.
But I mean, everyone loves watching the winners.
Yes.
But I actually like to watch the ones that were hoping to win that didn't.
Yeah.
Because it shows a lot about them as a team.
Absolutely.
And the coaches as well.
Sitting in that
And the
circle and taking
fans.
second reveals more about your team culture and your entire season than any first place ever
Yes.
would.
They gained so much more than just winning.
Yeah. There are things that matter within it.
Yes.
Is a better way. I think we can
Oh, I
phrase
like
that too,
that.
because we talked about too, like telling them they don't matter when it's their whole life or that it
Yes.
doesn't matter. But big picture, no, it truly, quote unquote, does not matter. But there are things inside it that truly do matter. The
Right.
work ethic that you put into, the relationships that you're building, the leadership that you learn, the accountability, the responsibility, like those really do matter.
Do matter.
Yeah, those do matter. So, in the big scheme of things, what you're working towards every day does matter. I think it's the outcome that at the end of the day truly doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are kids that have wonderful experiences on teams that have never even been on the UVU floor.
Right.
They haven't even gotten that far, let alone chasing a state title, but they're having, these great experiences. And yeah, anyway, I
Wow.
think good leaders can lead in any capacity, not just the best.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that.
I do too. That's great. How do you build discipline without sacrificing artistry?
Mm. That's so good.
This one had me like really thinking.
I know. And I'm like, I'm a lover of discipline.
Yes.
I think discipline allows artistry is maybe how I would think of that.
Okay.
If you're disciplined in showing up enough and being brave enough to explore your artistry, then it also develops, and I think too, you have to have discipline to sustain artistry. If you want longevity, you have to have discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe they're not opposites. They are congruent. They both need each other, for artistry to continue and to develop. And artistry can be messy and itchy and awkward and uncomfortable. And, sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it sells and sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's the discipline that keeps you coming back and challenging that artistry and really being bold and brave enough and, disciplined enough, to show up and try again and again and again, because we know that as artists, like not everything we do is taken at face value right away, So yeah, I think that they're both needed. Discipline is that beautiful technique that makes that artistry so refreshing. When they're married, when there's that combination of both, then it truly, that is kind of the recipe for success versus just focusing on artistry or just focusing on the discipline. The rigor begets the freedom of artistry, I think.
I love that.
That's an
so
opinion.
Much. Yeah. I love that so much. I agree.
Yeah.
Like when I was thinking about it, I'm like,
Yeah.
how, I don't know.
Yes. And
But
I think,
agree.
we get really drill world focused here. We've all been in kind of that, that arena. And I think that can be a challenge, but that is what makes good drill, man. It's that artistry paired with that discipline. You're like, these are incredible athletes.
Actually is an incredible routine.
Absolutely.
Look at that's going from better to best.
Absolutely.
Right? Like
when you can layer the artistry with the discipline.
Yeah.
Sold.
Awesome. That's amazing. What patterns have you observed in successful teams over the years?
I mean, I'm going to be really annoying and say, like, let's define success.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know. And I wouldn't say just a state championship.
Yes, it's so different for each team, truly. What has defined success for those that are winning? It's all of the ingredients. It's incredible ingenuity. It's focus on the discipline. It's a level of athleticism and artistry that is far beyond what others are doing. But in, another capacity, I think successful teams, the ones that have maybe not as much recognition, but are continually pulling 30 and 40 kids coming back to their program each year. It's like that in itself is successful, because there are some schools and teams that fight yearly to even keep their program alive. So I think something that I've seen with success is giving kids an experience that makes them feel empowered, and it gives them that joy. It gives them something to work towards. It gives them, accountability. In some way, it's rewarding to them without the hardware, and that's what's bringing them back. Yeah, that's the success that they're finding. I do think if you are, and this is not for everyone, there's always those outliers, but I do think if you are a part of the dance world and have been for a significant amount of time, you do find joy in that pressure, in wanting to work towards something bigger than yourself and wanting to be a part of something that requires you to be, the best teammate and the best athlete. And, I think kids at least I did, and those that I've worked with, they thrive on that. They
Mhm.
thrive on the bar being held high, but the success comes from a mentor or someone who's giving them the tools to achieve that. I tell that, when I go and do choreography, I always say, a great coach, a great parent, a great mentor, a great teacher, they don't just hold you to a high standard, they help you achieve that, because there's nothing worse than being held to a standard that you feel like you'll never be able to meet because you don't have the tools to get there.
Yeah.
So I think the successful programs are setting high standards and then providing tools for kids to meet them. And that's
Yeah.
where they're seeing success, whether that means a program that has continually brought in dancers, that there's never been that we have to fight to keep our,
Right.
dance co here or drill team
Mhm.
alive, or and then those that are also finding success in winning,
Right.
When
we work with teams, dance companies, cheer teams, ballroom,
Mhm.
drill, all the teams, we are always asking ourselves, like, certain, and I don't know, maybe you know more about this, but like, we always want, help me where I'm going with this, like, certain schools funds have different funds, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's like we're always trying, like, how can we help these underfunded teams have the same
Yes.
gear or have the
Yes.
same, and I know a lot of it is
Yes.
donation,
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
that that's a lot, but that's like, that says something about each school and having a successful team.
Support.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
support.
Support.
And
Yeah.
that's where, like,
Yes.
literally where it comes. We want each team
Yes.
to feel support and loved.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
again, like, helping them, like, if you like the way that you look, this is maybe not
No, you feel
the
better.
best, but you feel
Yeah.
better.
Absolutely.
You feel more
Absolutely.
confident in yourself,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh yeah, I do kind of want that pressure. Yeah, I
Mhm.
do want to
Yep.
be noticed, and I
Yes.
do want to keep coming back again.
Yeah. Being on the administrative side of things, that
Oh,
was such an eye opener because you see who gets funded. You see who gets
yes.
support. You see who, gets the media focus. You see, and there is a huge discrepancy. I will tell you that one, speaking blatantly, one of the most important things for the success of a team is going to be the administrative support behind.
You need to get that support.
Yes. Yeah, it's so uncomfortable. I've been in that situation
Yes.
saying, like, I need your support, whether it's monetarily, whether it's just getting, space to rehearse or
Right.
all of those things
Yeah.
that we've all dealt with. But thankfully, I always have a whole lot to say and I'm not afraid to,
Yeah.
go to bat for the people in my corner. But yeah, it is true. Like,
Yeah.
success is built on support. And if you
Yeah.
don't have that as the baseline, then it is really hard to get anywhere.
Support has come a long
Yes.
way than when we
Absolutely.
were in drill. And yes, but like, when we go to drill competitions, or when we go to different concerts or
Yeah.
things like that,
Yes.
and I just feel like, as a whole, dance is being more supported.
Oh,
and
yeah.
in
Absolutely.
the last 20 years than
Absolutely.
we
Than it ever
never
was.
filled UVU ever.
Yeah.
UCCU
And
Center.
now they're like, you have to
And
pre-buy
now-
tickets
yes,
and
and it's sold
500 of you
out.
can't have one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's sold out in 30 minutes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so it's like, that was never a thing. What conversations are we avoiding in the drill and competition world?
I think the glorification of, like, dance or die,
Mm.
the overtraining, the maybe this ages me, but I think back, like, when I was young, I played softball. I hated it, but my mom made me do it. I did gymnastics. My sister played basketball. I played the violin. I played the guitar. I did show choir. Like, I was in all these
the
different
things.
things, kind of trying to, like, figure out. And I never was told, like, if you are in 4th grade and you haven't dedicated yourself to this specific area and spent all of your time and money focusing on this, then you will not be worth it in the end, kind of thing. I think we just get way hyper focused way early. And it is generating a lot of stellar dancers, and the longevity of them is a third.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
even like with high school age, so many of us post high school wanted to do something with dance. We wanted to dance in college. We wanted to teach at studio. We wanted to be choreographers. And now I see these kids leaving high school, and some of them aren't even finishing, 4 years on drill team or dance company or cheer. They're burning out so much earlier. And a lot of it is because of the level of things that we're asking them to do, right?
Right.
But I think the approach to training them to do those things is absurd. It's, we're complimenting and, well, she has an injured knee, but she pushed through. And you're like, she is 14 and has a significant injury. And it's more important that there's not a hole in your Celine Dion piece than it is that she takes care of her body. I don't know.
Yes.
And yeah, I think sometimes too, and I won't put that, on coaches explicitly, but, sometimes too, we're in this position where you're like, how do I make this medical choice for this dancer? It's like, that shouldn't be on your plate. I will give that caveat. But yeah, I just think there's a glorification in over everything, over training, and, from over stretching to over, well, now you don't do one solo, you do 2 solos. And now you don't just do drill, you do drill, and then you follow it up with dance company who does spring concert, or you do studio and you do drill. You have to be concurrently enrolled or you're irrelevant. And there is so many great things that can come from proper and appropriate training in those areas. There are dancers who have great longevity that have done both studio and drill. It's not an everyone experience, but the majority of them are just, I shared something just on social media the other day of someone I was listening to, and they were talking about how, like, maybe inadvertently and without doing it maliciously, we have a lot of people in leadership positions who maybe are not even underqualified, but undertrained to be giving these expectations, especially when it comes to physicality, or training these dancers or training these athletes in a way that is truly not appropriate, effective, or safe.
Yeah.
So I think that is one thing that is just kind of overlooked, is we need these positions filled and a body works.
Yes.
And maybe the knowledge and the criteria of how to do that in the best way is not being fully looked into.
That's why I'm like, how?
Yeah.
It definitely is. Like, I think, we talk about it all of the time, just between the two of us, of just like, why is that?
Yeah.
Why is it that if my kids want to do something in high school or want to do something in college, they're already too late?
Absolutely.
It's like, if you're talking about it, you're too late.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's like, how, and I guess this is just the question of forever, and it's going to be this way until something changes.
Yeah.
But like, how can we make that change?
Yeah.
How, as a society, it doesn't matter if it's just dance. It doesn't matter. It can literally be music. It can be horse riding. It can be anything.
Yeah.
But the society that we live in is like,
yes,
you're all in.
Absolutely.
Preschool.
Yeah.
If you're
I
not,
know. Yes.
I remember, I'm like, wait, you already signed up for preschool, and like, it's a year. Like, my child doesn't go for a year, and they were not accepted. They couldn't get into whatever preschool, and I'm like,
this is insane.
Like, really?
Yeah.
I had to think. I don't pre-plan, so
Yeah.
that is not my.
Yeah,
but it is. I'm just like, how do we?
And maybe
make
a lot of
that
it comes
change?
from, I know it's so annoying to be like social media,
No.
but the instant gratification that comes from that, and like seeing something, and then like when I think of my dance training, I didn't see other people other than the literal other people around me,
Right.
Yeah.
or at a competition. I wasn't watching people online or on my phone doing these wild things. And then, my training was completely put in those training me, my coaches, my teachers, so whatever speed or, progression that they were teaching me at, that's all I knew. And I was great with that. Yeah. And I think maybe there's a little bit of that, like, one of my worst nightmares is like, well, let's try this. And it's like, what steps have we taken to be ready for that? Well, we're going to try this today. I'm like, that is wild. That's like putting your toddler in tumbling and the teacher being like, I saw a backflip online. We're going to try it. And you're like, there are so many things that need to happen prior to that skill set to be able to accomplish that skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it, like, going along with that is, we live in a world of instant gratification. So we want it today.
Yes.
But like, I do think there is a happy medium of that.
Totally.
Like you can have a healthy relationship with, okay, I want to learn that trick, but I'm old, so I learned old school way
Yeah.
of being like, how can I get there?
Yes.
Instead of I'm throwing this tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I
Absolutely.
was taught differently of like, okay, yeah, then what are the steps I need to take
Yes.
to get there
Yeah.
instead of
And I think
seeing
it's,
a routine and be
social
like, oh,
media
I'm
can
doing
be
it.
so great in helping you
Yes.
stay relevant and finding like, oh, that's something I didn't think of, or that's,
Mhm.
but then, it's like, it's not also showing you the 3.5 years of progressive classes they
Yes.
need to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Or like this team has literally been together for 3.5 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And they've had
Yeah.
injury and they've had this, and this person is, there's so much it does not show.
Yeah.
So.
I think, this applies to everything. And I'm always thinking about this in like my personal life.
Yeah.
I always have to remember all things in moderation.
Yeah.
And I think as a human, we all struggle with that. We get obsessed
moderate
over
amount.
Yeah.
things.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like
Absolutely.
to be with coaching, with drill team, with cheer, with dance company, with
Yeah.
dance in general, ballet dancers, whatever it
Right.
is, you have to, yes, you kind of are immersed in this one thing that you find that you love and
Yeah.
you want to do 1,000% at, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yep.
But I think we also need to realize that we need to bring other things into our lives, whether that's actual like meditation, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Or even journaling.
Yeah.
And it can relate to your
Yeah.
dancing
Mhm.
and spending time with your family or with your friends.
There is a person in there. There's a
Be-
person
Yes,
under
there
that
is.
athlete and
Because-
under that dancer, and like
Mhm.
there is a person.
Yeah, I think that will help ground you as a
Mhm.
dancer, an athlete, whatever it is that you call yourself. I think
Right.
if we can, all of us,
Yeah.
can find, a little bit of evenness.
Levity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm like. If you look at our world, what's happening now,
Yeah.
like there's so much extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I have to remember before I start
Yes.
getting in this spiral that I'm like, okay,
Yes.
the extreme is just showing up.
Absolutely.
Right? Like they're
Absolutely.
the loudest, they're the
Yeah.
like
Yes.
whatever. So that's what we are seeing. And the majority of us we're just like, how did you say, what was that word? I love that.
Like levity. Yeah. We're
Levity.
just,
Yeah.
I love
just
that.
yeah.
Like we're all just literally just
trying
doing
to put our
best.
heads down and do our best.
yeah.
Find the joy in the thing that brings us
Yes.
joy. And yeah.
Yeah. I was watching a podcast and it was just like a little clip. I'm a country fan. I love country. But Luke Combs was actually on a podcast and he was talking about how, he's a huge country star,
Yeah.
huge. And he basically was saying outside of my concerts and performances, he's like, I'm just a regular person. I
Yes.
do
Yes.
everything that everyone
Yeah.
else does. I have a garden.
Yes.
I have a wife. I have kids.
Yep.
And most of the time, that's what I'm doing. But then I just get to do, for my job, I get to do something that I love,
Yeah.
And I just love that and maybe he's not that way all the time, but I just loved hearing that from
Yeah.
somebody that's in the
In the
spotlight.
yes.
And
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
we all
going
need to
back
remember that.
to that question you asked too, like, what are you without all of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you without all of, that glitz and glam and titles and
Yes.
dance and competitions and trophies and, the politics that go into everything. And, it's like, who are you? And has that person been built well?
Yeah.
Mhm. This
Awesome.
all like goes hand in hand, like with the whole conversation, because like but I feel like you're doing such amazing things of helping build programs and build dancers and
Yeah.
build these athletes to
Thank you.
focus and like recognize that in themselves.
Truly. Yeah.
Because maybe it was easier when we were younger and growing up.
Yes. I
Because
don't
we
doubt
did.
that there are
We both did softball.
significant
Hailee was
challenges.
way better. She made the
Yeah.
All-Star A team and I made the B team.
When we were 10.
Yeah. Yes, when we were 10.
She's like, and don't forget
Don't
it.
forget it. No, but it's like we did. Like we were able to enjoy.
Yeah. I was
And do
able
lots
to
of
find
stuff.
my passion for dance.
Yeah.
Like, because I experienced other
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
something that I, was kind of made to do, or it was the only thing I did. So of
Mhm.
course I love it. I was able to, by trial and error or process of
Yes.
elimination, decide, I liked going to dance. I would get ready and ride my bike to
Mhm.
dance, and I would beg my mom to please don't make me go to gymnastics this week,
Yeah.
or I have to sign up. It's something that like truly fell in love with on my own accord, which I think really helped it snowball into what it is today, because it was truly a passion that I was able to choose.
Yeah.
You know, that
For
I really,
sure.
I
Agree.
experienced other things and kept coming back to it.
Yeah.
Because if it's the only thing you ever do, you may, you know, have a love for it, but in a
But
capacity that might not have that longevity.
Yeah. It's hard in today's world because everything's so expensive.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this
And
is
time
probably
commitment.
a very unpopular opinion.
fine.
You know
Go
me
for
with
it.
my unpopular
I
opinion.
Go
love
for
them.
it.
I love them.
Hey,
And
it's your
so does
podcast. You
everyone
can say whatever
else.
you want.
Seriously.
So my children don't do anything competitive
Yeah.
because, I mean, we live on a farm. So we decided as a family, that's just, if they want to do it, that's great. I'm not going to tell them no.
Yeah.
But our lifestyle just isn't supportive of like
Yes.
competition stuff
Yeah.
because our life is our animals and our farm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like, it's hard to put our kids in all of these different things because it's so expensive nowadays. And
Yeah.
like, I think we all feel like for them to be doing something, they have to be in at the competition level.
Everything. Yep.
And so
And
like
have private lessons.
Yes.
And have
go to
private
every
lessons.
extra convention.
and it's like, how do
Yes.
we change that mindset? Because that is not how it has to be.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like they can try out all of these different things at the rec level.
Yeah.
Yes.
Until they like
Yeah.
decide that like, okay, this is actually what I want to pursue.
Yeah.
Then we can go into competition stuff and
Yeah.
start doing private lessons or whatever it is that they want to do. But I feel like we just jump in
Totally.
and
I was
go
listening.
all in, and it's, I don't know, I
Um,
feel like we're doing a disservice to our children.
I was listening to another
Absolutely.
podcast that said, you know, they were discussing especially like amateur sports and kind of like peewee level things, you know,
Yeah.
and they talked about if you're looking at a child and say your kid really struggles with math but really excels at tennis, do you hire a tennis coach or a math tutor? You know, and it's like, are you investing in the
Yes.
things that they're weakest at, or are you seeing them have this like natural, maybe like this joy that has sprung up that they can be really good at, and you're going to hire somebody to foster that, you know? And it was one of
Yes.
those like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work 2 jobs and get both, I guess.
Yes,
you know?
yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly.
it is. It's a lot of like, I
It's
can't
hard.
even imagine those decisions. I'm like, I hope my
Yeah.
kid wants to play something really inexpensive like chess or something.
Yeah.
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 But even then,
I
I'm sure it's
guarantee
Oh, I'm
costs
sure.
chess,
Absolutely.
$1,000 a month
tournaments,
to,
yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sure chess is outrageous.
I
I
know.
just don't.
It's
Anything
it's
is
so
nowadays.
expensive to have hobbies.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is. But
Yeah.
I do. And I've seen a similar thing, or maybe it was the same podcast that
Mhm.
I saw that and I'm like, what do you do?
What do you do? Yeah.
Do I be different? And do I say,
Yeah.
all right, forget this. I'm
I'm
pushing.
nurturing
yeah,
what
I'm gonna
you
nurture
love.
what
Yeah.
they love and what they're naturally gifted
Yeah.
in,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, I think a part of that feels like that was part of my success too. This is so random, but my first declared major was mortuary sciences. I wanted to be a
Whoa.
mortician. I
That's
know.
awesome, actually.
That
I
It's
think
so
is
that's really
random,
cool.
but I was like, I want to
cool.
do that. So I get all my classes. I'm at Snow College. I'm on an academic scholarship. I'm in the chemistry class that has all like the pre-nursing students in it
Mm.
too. Like it's a pretty, I don't want to say high level because I'm an idiot, but like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, higher level. It wasn't just my entry level chem class. Oh man, did I bomb it like so hard. I think I have a D in the class, and I went into my academic advisor and she was like, "Kay, love you so much. You've lost your scholarship. You didn't keep your GPA high enough." And
Oh,
she
wow.
literally, and not in a condescending way, not in a like, well, you're, dumber than a doorknob. She said, "What about dance?" You know, like I
Wow.
remember her name was Sue. She had cute blonde hair, sitting in her office being like, I now have to pay for my own college, and I'm in all these dance classes.
Why not?
Why not? And I remember her saying that, what about dance? And it was that aha moment of like, really? Like, you
Yeah.
think I should do that?
Hmm.
So anyway, my transcript on my degree from Snow says, I can't remember, something like, grade acceptable for chosen major. So
That's awesome.
my D
Wow.
grade grade in chemistry
is
was acceptable.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love
So,
that.
I actually
anyways,
love that, though.
I know it's one of those
That's-
things, but it's like instead of being like, okay, well, you're going to have to try again. Like, we're going to start you in a
Yes.
lower chem class. And then,
Mhm.
you know, it was kind of this like gentle redirect, but it was such an aha moment of like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
I find so much joy in that. I just,
Yes.
nobody ever had kind of like alluded to the fact that I could do it as a career. I know
Mhm.
other
Yeah.
people could, but you know, so yeah, it was one of those like they hired a tennis coach and went the math
Yes.
tutor and you know, it worked out. So
That's awesome.
I really
That's
love
really
that
cool.
so much. Where does ego show up most dangerously in our industry?
mm, I mean, yeah, just generally speaking, in the motives, in your why, in why you're doing it. If, you know, your why is because you think you can do it better than someone else, you know,
Mm.
well, we're going to get this coach fired because we think we can do it. Or, you know, just, yeah, in your why, in the decisions that you're making, if it's ego driven, period, it's not going to be successful. And I think, I don't know why that happens. I think, actually, I do. I lied. Another opinion. But I
Yes.
think just because we grow up in the industry, in the culture of feeling the need to prove ourselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which can be so motivating and really lend itself to hard work and, you know, grit and perseverance. But if it shifts to the other side of the line, it turns into ego, is I need to prove myself as better than, right? Is I'm doing this because I want to be better than they did it, or I'm doing this because I want to get a better placement than they did it. And I think, again, exploring the motives behind it, if ego starts to creep into those motives, like redirect, reevaluate, because that's dangerous territory. And again, when it is a domino effect onto other people, onto kids, onto teenagers, onto, you know, even adults, even at a college level, I just think if ego is driven, the tower will eventually fall. You know, it can only get so high before that becomes destructive. And it's hard. It's hard to, you know, like kind of self-reflect and think, oh man, like that choice was purely motivated out
Yes.
of like a me scenario. You
Yeah.
know, I'm doing this for me or for what I want or how I want to look or what I want people to think of me, you know, versus truly investing in the people that are doing the
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love
I
that.
appreciate that so much. What inspired you to build full out productions?
Oh,
And explain
yay.
that just a little bit
Okay, so that
to
is
us.
that is a dance camp that I
Okay.
do, myself and my business partner, Laura Lynn.
Yes.
So she has been a part of everything.
Remember her from
I know.
Yeah, right.
Angel.
We
Yeah, I
both-
know.
Yes.
Oh, I hope people say that about me one day and smile
They
like you guys
will.
did instead
They
of like,
will.
oh. So yeah, I have taught at so many camps. This was born a little bit out of wanting to kind of be our own bosses. I mean, we're at a place in our lives where we are running, like we own competitions, we own, you know, different businesses, but we were still working underneath an umbrella of someone else kind of in that capacity. And anyway, just the universe, you know, made certain things happen and we had the opportunity to start our own. And it was really built on the idea of accessibility.
Okay.
Something that gave an opportunity for dancers at a certain level or a certain level of interest or a certain physical ability to find a place to belong. That it wasn't the shock of the price tag or the comparison of attending something big, you know, like competition X, Y, and Z or convention X, Y, and Z that come to Utah, and still giving these kids access to teachers, choreographers, you know, mentors of a certain caliber, without it being something that they had to, you know, like fundraise to afford.
Right.
Or yeah, so it was just yeah, it was something that we really wanted to put a positive spin on it. And truly, it's about the growth, and it's not about earning a certificate to come back next year, and it's not about, you know, competing with those in the room. And I think like as a director too, you know, and coaches as well, sometimes it's hard to be put in a room with someone who feels significantly more successful or capable, or, it was really just to like come as you are.
Mm-hmm.
And we will give you the tools as much as we can to help you build in every capacity. We do like mentor courses and teachers training. So everything from, like
That's so
building your
important.
brand and
Yeah.
how to get your teachers on board, and then into like technique classes for littles, and, just kind of, again, it was about accessibility. It was about bringing an option that maybe wasn't around, high caliber, good, solid information without it feeling competitive or needing a huge price tag, or, so yeah, it's awesome. We love it.
I love that so
Yeah,
much.
it's been really great, and we've had a lot of great support and feedback from it. And as we sat down and talked about who we wanted to participate as teachers, kind of like be on our staff, that was another moment where there was a lot of dancers who were still kind of figuring out their growing pains, like, well, I want to do college, but I did jazz dancer, or one of them's in college, but they're potentially pursuing nursing. And, there was just a lot of kids, I'll say, at a different kind of stage in life. And we, said, hey, you've got a knack for teaching, come try it out. You've got a really great knack for choreography, come try it out. And so giving kind of people place to test the waters there, and kind of experience dance from the other side of the floor, as a teacher. So yeah, it's been great. This was our second season that we just did, and we're coming up on our third year here in the summer. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's
So
been
is
great.
it more of like a convention style or like a camp style?
Like a camp,
or
like a camp. I mean, and we give them, there's a really low key, again, it's a class on learning how to audition. Instead of throwing them into the audition, it's about how. And,
I
say
love
you do
that.
go to convention next year, or you do make the higher comp team, like this is what you'll experience. And it's all about kind of, again, rewinding and showing and doing the steps of learning, the steps of growth. Yeah. Instead of just signing up, throwing them to the wolves and hoping for the
luck.
best, absolutely. Yeah. So it's
That
been
is
great.
awesome.
It's very fulfilling on a lot of different levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's been
That's
great.
cool.
That is really neat. Okay. We're going to kind of start wrapping things up.
Okay.
Across all of your experiences, what remains constant about dancers, regardless of age or background?
They just really want somebody to be in their corner.
Yeah.
Like they just really want somebody to say, hey, you're doing a good job. Like I tell my kiddos when I go in to do choreography, and hopefully they'll attest to this, but whether, again, it's, tiny little studio bugs or collegiate kids or a professional production piece, is my only expectation in class is for you to try.
Yes.
If you will bring me effort of any capacity, because your effort will be different than your effort, that's enough for me today, is just effort. And I think validating that, validation, I'll go there too. Like kids and people want validation that, dang it, like I recognize you trying, and it gets hard because sometimes I thought, as a coach, I kept this in my head a lot, that I can't spend 90% of my time on 10% of my team. Whether that 10% was the very best of my team or the very quote unquote worst or the most problematic, is I can't spend 90% of my time on 10% of my team. Is everybody needs something.
Yeah.
And going back to leadership and, again, like teaching theories, and, you learn, like there are so many different teaching styles or learning styles.
Yes.
And you have to be mindful of everyone in your classroom, and how can you make an impact to everybody? It just, I don't know. I regardless of how much time I spend with them, if it's, I've been your studio teacher for years, or I am your choreographer for 6 hours, I want to make an impact on you were seen and you were validated, and in some way I made you feel better about being here today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think, again, like in this culture and in what we experience, and I don't want to keep saying like, oh my gosh, we all grew up with like such a traumatic relationship with dance, but it is hard. It is a lot about like, constructive criticism, and yay for that. But the bottom line is constructive criticism is criticism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is a lot, and it is heavy year after year and age after age. And, that gets heavy. And if that is not balanced out with somebody just validating your effort, not just your outcome, it gets heavy. And it turns us all into these little, I'm the same way, man. I have imposter syndrome so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, I was on the phone with my husband. I'm like, I don't know why they want me on a podcast. I'm just like, I'm just me, or like, it's just, we're these like painful perfectionists because someone along the line has told us like, well, it's constructive criticism. And it's like, okay, well, I've been constructed and criticized till I'm about crumbled,
Exactly.
So it's like,
we've all been crying.
I just want to make an impact in a positive way. That just, even if it's just for a blink, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It just is that like little nudge that somebody might need. Yeah.
Well, and just like you were saying earlier, whether they're little teeny tiny or they're adult dancers, right? Like collegiate dancers, they have so much pressure on them and they are going through so much. And that's just in the dance pressure world, right?
Yeah.
But you go to home experiences, you go to life experiences, like not everyone gets, well, and Hailee will always say this, like dance is a privilege.
Yeah.
Not everyone has the privilege to do that.
No.
And so take that opportunity as a teacher, as a mentor, to like give those kids one bit of positive, one bit of love, just to make them all feel seen and heard and noticed. I mean, that's a big thing in dance, right? Like you want to be noticed and
And I think sometimes as teachers, we're like, oh, that's so irritating. Like those kids that are always like, oh, look at me or watch me. And it's like, oh my gosh, that little person just needs, this makes me emotional. They clearly need somebody to just validate them, to just see them, and see past like that cute little annoying personality and that horribly bent leg and that foot shaped this way. It's like, just throw them a bone, because what does it hurt? What does it hurt?
All that it maybe is going to do is maybe help them have a little bit more confidence.
Absolutely.
And does that hurt anyone?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. Yeah.
So
I freaking went to the dentist the other day and she was like, oh my gosh, this is so random. She's got her big old lights on and she's like, you have such nice skin. And I was like,
thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Like I'm 37 and I just started washing my face, but it's like, man, we all know what a compliment does, like why are we so stingy?
Yes.
What does it hurt?
Yeah, it is.
What does it hurt?
True.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. We like to end with just a quick little lightning round. Discipline or creativity?
Discipline.
Okay. Studio or stage?
Studio.
Name a mentor who changed your life.
Ooh, Laura Lynn. I'll go back to Laura Lynn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm going off for a sec, but it's very rare to have somebody that has turned from a mentor to a business partner to a like true, very best friend. It's been incredible. So I've learned a lot of, I spoke earlier on, I learned, how to not do certain things from certain mentors, but everything that I have really put myself into learning to make things better has been a reflection of the example that she set. So that's been great.
That's
that
cool.
Is so cool. That is really.
We need to have her on.
I know.
Are you kidding?
Me too.
Yeah,
I would love
absolutely.
She is, and just to think. I mean, I always say, and he's like, "We're not old," but I always say, like, "We're old ladies."
No, we're old.
But like, just to think, literally 20-ish, more than that, 20-ish years ago.
Yeah,
like we were at her drill camp.
Yes.
And being taught by her. And so like just to think that she's had an impact, that we still know her and it was very positive, know. But like she's made an impact for that long and then more on a personal like base with you. And so that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
You're great. Awesome. I could sit here and just like, okay, keep going.
I know. I'm like, what else?
Okay, come on. Keep
I know.
telling
what
us
else
more
can we
about
talk
what
about?
you do.
No, I know. After I was like, opinions are stinkers. I sure got a lot of them, don't I?
You know.
But
you
guys are awesome.
Seriously,
I appreciate
thank
you giving
we
a platform
appreciate you.
for
This is
people who have a passion.
Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us today. Nearly 4 decades in the dance world is an incredible journey, and it's clear that your passion for dance goes far beyond the stage. The way you've poured into dancers as a performer, coach, educator, entrepreneur, and mentor is truly inspiring. Your dedication to the art form and to the people within it is exactly what keeps this community so special. We are so grateful you were willing to let us hear a little bit about the experiences, lessons, and moments that have shaped your path. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Keeping You On Stage podcast. We hope today's conversation reminded you that dance is more than just movement. It's about the people who inspire us, the mentors who guide us, and the passion that keeps us going year after year. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, and follow along for more stories from the incredible people who make up the dance world. Until next time, keep working hard, keep supporting each other, and as always, happy dancing.